have a weakness for artists, and fashion is a unique art form where we wear the heart and soul of the designer. It literally touches our skin and it speaks to our senses. My guest expresses so many ideas, thoughts, and feelings in her designs. She speaks through materials and colors, defying the norm to mold her creations upon us. With solid learnings and experience, she is forming her path, her way, one step at a time. Should it be any other way than our own? Let's ask 10 questions to my extraordinary guest, Nour Takieddine. Hi, Nour.
Hi. Thank you so much, Patricia, for this lovely introduction.
I'm so happy to have you here because we met such a long time ago and so many events have passed.
Yes.
We're finally here.
Yes, we are.
So everybody, when I talk about you and I say she's 25, they're like, what? Wow. So tell us how you became a fashion designer.
Okay, a long story short.
Yeah.
Well, I've always wanted to be a fashion designer.
Okay.
I actually knew I wanted to be a fashion designer at maybe the age of 10, 11 years old.
Okay, ever since you were young.
Yeah, I was very creative. I was
Okay.
very into painting, sculpting. I used to take a lot of mosaic, découpage classes.
Okay.
And
Anything artistic.
anything that allows me to express myself.
Okay.
And at some point I was reading a bit more about fashion design as a major, and I noticed that, because I did fashion design in 2017. I entered uni, and so back then it wasn't very common to have a university diploma as a fashion designer.
Right, I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, a lot of
before I met
people
you.
were like, "Oh, بدك تصيري خياطة," and I was like, "No, not خياطة.
Okay.
I'm a designer."
Right.
And so I researched.
A seamstress.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the seamstress.
Yeah, the regular
which
seamstress.
seems to be a bit of I don't know. It has a bit of a negative connotation in Lebanon.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I wanna fight for my passion, which
Right.
is designing and creating. And of course, part of it is being a good tailor and being good in pattern making and everything. And so this is when I went and I started researching, and I saw that LAU offers fashion design, and the program was very new. It was a collaboration with London College of Fashion, UAL,
Okay, wow.
and Elie Saab.
Elie Saab, the
And-
well-known designer.
Of course.
Yeah.
And this was to me a big thing.
Okay.
Fun fact, I did apply to law school as well. So I
Oh,
got accepted
really?
in law. Yeah, I got accepted in law.
Wow, which university?
USG, and I did everything to start.
Oh,
And
wow,
when
what
I
a
received-
difference. Yeah.
Yeah, and when I received the acceptance letter of the fashion program from LAU, I was jumping in the room. So I knew that this was what I wanted.
Okay.
So I dropped the idea of into being a law student.
Okay.
And so I did fashion design, finished my bachelor's at LAU, and this is when I decided to go to Parsons, Paris, and I continued my master's degree.
Before you got to Parsons, can we talk? You won a prize?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I was in LAU fourth year, which is senior year, we all have to do a graduate collection. And so in my case, I was doing a graduate collection inspired by the Dada art movement, which we can discuss in a bit.
Yeah.
And in our senior year, we have Elie Saab, who comes as a jury member, and he gives his insights with the women's wear designer as well.
Okay.
And one person gets to win Prix du Jury Elie Saab in the senior year.
Yeah.
And so I won my year in 2021, and it was a very, very, very special moment, because it was kind of reminding me that I should have, and I'm glad that I kept fighting for my passion, because at a lot of phases in those 4 years, I was very anxious. I suffered from anxiety, and I had a lot of fears. I thought that I was not going to be able to finish those 4 years. It was very tough. A lot of times I wanted to drop off.
The country was going through a lot of turmoil.
A lot of I mean, we went through the first 2 years were awesome. The second 2 years were a bit hard.
Right,
We had COVID and the Beirut explosion. So the blast happened literally the year where I was in my senior year. So I had to research a collection and a theme as a designer and a creative. And I felt very bad, because I was like, there's no sense. Life is absurd. The country is going through that. And I'm here to create colorful, fun clothes.
Yeah, how can you be inspired?
So, exactly. And it's very important for a designer to be inspired and to be in a good mental health condition. A lot of times I get inspired by my own personal experiences, and I link it to historical movements and references.
I love that.
Yeah. That's why I consider myself a conceptual fashion designer, because I really start from a concept and I research it very deeply, and then I
Okay.
start building my garments and the shapes and the volumes based on that.
Okay.
So you really see that the garments themselves are more of sculptural pieces that can be
Right.
worn.
Yeah.
It's not just a garment that has a function that's wearable.
Okay, it has a statement.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I focus on a lot.
Okay, so you won Prix du Jury. You
Yes,
went to
in
Parsons.
2021.
Yeah.
Yes, so I went to Parsons, and this is where I did my master's. I did an MFA in fashion design and arts.
Yeah.
And I was very happy to be the only Lebanese, the only person from the Middle East in my class.
Okay.
Another step,
Yeah.
being a student in a university like Parsons allows us to not only meet a lot of people from different cultural backgrounds, which is
Right.
very nice as opposed to when I was here,
Yeah.
but also studying in a city like Paris as a fashion student
Yeah.
has another,
It's one of the fashion capitals of the world.
Exactly.
And you got the occasion
To meet
to
Donatella Versace.
yeah, you collaborated
Yes.
with the
Yeah.
House of Versace. Wow.
Yes. So that
How
was
does
another
it feel, all of this stuff, when you're so young?
extremely overwhelming.
Wow.
It's a pinch me moment, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So I was 24 years old, and I had the chance to meet Donatella, who is an icon in the fashion
Yeah.
industry, twice, and present my designs to her. So this was a collaboration project we had with the Parsons. So as a
Okay.
student, we get to do an industry project, and so in my year we had the chance to do it with Versace Milan.
Okay.
The first group of students, we all went together to Milan, and we had a very nicely curated exhibition for us. It was private.
Oh, it was private.
Yes, it was just for us, and we had no access. We were not allowed to take anything.
Okay.
No pictures, no touching. It was
Oh,
very,
okay.
very, And it was an exhibition that showcased all of Gianni's pieces and
Right.
Donatella. So we had the archive of the
Oh,
house
okay.
from Gianni until
So the
until
evolution.
Donatella. Yes.
Right. Okay.
And this is when we also had a tour in Novara at the factory. We saw how the work happens, the patterns, the process, everything.
Wow, it must have been so inspiring.
Yes, and we were sitting there and talking to the women's wear designer, and then suddenly the doors flipped and Donatella enters the room in her
Wow.
own headquarters with 2-3 cameramen.
Like an aura just
like
comes in.
literally she did an entrance. The appearance was surprising because we were
Wow.
not expecting
What was she
her.
wearing?
She was wearing one of her collection's dresses with the safety pins, the colorful safety
Oh,
pins,
right.
which are a very important symbol in the house.
Okay.
And so I remember she told us, okay, guys, I'm so happy to meet you. You guys are the new designers of this generation. And I want you to take the heritage, the DNA of the house, but
Yeah.
play with it.
Okay.
And add your own twist. Add a bit of your own heritage, your own cultural
Yeah.
background. And so I was very happy because to me, the fashion industry is starting to listen to the new designers a bit more.
Yeah.
They're starting to see what we're doing.
Okay.
They want to know more about
They
us.
respect you.
Exactly. And they
Yeah.
want to get they really want fresh blood in
Yeah.
the big fashion houses.
I think you showed me the design. It was a Phoenician princess. Am I right? Or-
It was a
Yeah.
print. So I ended up designing. So I got inspired. Each designer gets assigned 2 looks, one by Gianni, one by Donatella. We
Okay.
have to do a combo and create a third version.
Oh, okay.
So in my case, I was assigned 2 looks from Gianni SS 1992 collection. So
Okay.
it was a very old one, and then
SS
another
as in
one,
spring summer.
Spring summer 1992.
Okay.
And then the second one was a 2002 or 2004 from Donatella's
Okay.
collections. And so it was all about pop culture and the magazines. It was a jumpsuit with beautiful Vogue covers with
Okay.
embroidery all around. It had
Right.
the word Vogue everywhere.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, pop culture, pop icons. Who could be considered a Lebanese pop icon? So I went directly and I thought of Fayrouz.
Yeah, of course.
And I really wanted to bring Fayrouz and create a Medusa version of her, because
Yeah.
Medusa is the logo of the fashion house,
Right.
with all of the snakes coming
Yeah.
out of her head. And so I really wanted to dig deeper and see that, okay, so they are into, so the Versace house is always inspired by, the Italian culture, but there's also a huge aspect, which is the temples, the Baroque style and aesthetic.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, so there's
From the Roman mythology
Yeah,
and
there's the whole
everything, yeah.
Roman mythology,
Yeah.
and I think in Lebanon I can relate that in a way to the Baalbek temples, to that.
Well, they are related.
And this is exactly. And so
Yeah.
this is where I started scanning. I took pictures of the temples, started
Oh,
scanning them. I
right.
got vintage wedding dresses, things from
cool.
from the Lebanese. Yeah, I actually went and started sourcing old dresses from. I wanted to
Right.
see what women used to wear in the era of Fayrouz.
Yeah.
And I went and I saw all the costumes that Fayrouz herself
Yeah.
would wear. And And I created a series of scans and prints, one on top of the other, layering them. And the collage ended up being this beautiful psychedelic print that mixes both the Versace DNA and the Lebanese heritage.
Okay.
I presented that as a big dress.
Yeah.
On top of that was the harness, fully embroidered, which took me around 2 months in Paris in the room, embroidering piece by piece. I had more than 3,200 pieces of beads.
You love embroidery.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, you can see it, right?
Yeah.
I love embroidery. It's really something that, it's really something that interests me. And not just embroidery, the idea of embellishment. Because to me, as a designer, it's very important to put your touch into fabric. You can't just purchase a fabric the way that it is.
Yeah.
You need to work on it, whether through weaving, whether through embroidery, print, a lot of different textile manipulations, which allows you to put your own touch into the fabric.
Right.
Not just keeping it the way it is.
Yeah. So she chose your design.
So, the fun part. So we ended up going back to Paris and we started working on the pieces. And then we had a lot of meetings with the women's wear designer at Versace, and we had a final jury. Once we finished the final jury in Paris, we had an exhibition, and suddenly the women's wear designer was like, she made us all stand in line. She was like, okay, guys, let me tell you something. 6 designers are selected to travel back to Milan tomorrow.
Oh, there were 6 of them.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So we were 12.
Yeah.
And then round 2, 6 designers were only selected
by
Donatella based on our portfolios to meet her and to present to her their look.
Wow.
And so she said the first name was my friend who's Spanish. The second name was mine. And I was like, oh no.
You
like,
must have felt so wonderful.
Yeah, no, it felt extremely overwhelming. It's such a, you know, those moments where you're like, is this really happening?
Yeah. You feel appreciated for what you're doing.
Very appreciated, and it makes you realize that it's very true. I had to stick to my real gut feeling and continuing in this industry.
Right.
Because a lot of times, as I told you, it was very challenging and I was like, what am I doing here? But these, especially as a conceptual designer in Lebanon, because as you mentioned, my work revolves a lot around embroidery, prints, colors, a lot of statement pieces.
Yeah, you're very unique.
Yeah, and Lebanon is a country where evening wear and couture is more common, and the idea of like this beautiful feminine woman. My work is more artsy, I'd say. It's more conceptual.
Yeah.
So getting, you know, like getting respected and recognized by big designers in the industry makes me come back to Lebanon with a powerful statement. You know what I mean? It helps me. It boosts my ego also as a designer.
Yeah.
So this is where we ended up traveling to Milan, and then we met her. We had like a mini défilé in the headquarters. We had a model, and we had, you know, around 10-15 minutes each designer with her to talk about the work. I remember she loved it, and I remember she said she recognized Fayrouz, which to me was beautiful.
Did. Yeah, she did. Amazing.
And she did mention that she loves Lebanon and things like that.
Has
and I was
she
very
ever been
happy.
here?
I don't know. I have no idea about
she
that.
But I
think,
it, I think.
Yeah, but I think to me it was a very nice, proud, you know, like proud moment, because not only am I a Lebanese designer, but I'm also the only one from the Middle East, and I'm also bringing in this idea of the Lebanese culture in with a twist, because again, I didn't showcase something that's a couture dress and evening wear dress.
It wasn't the classic
it was a more abstract art piece, if you want.
Very
that
unique.
Was wearable.
Yeah. A bit eccentric, because you are a little bit eccentric.
I love extravagant things, I have to say. Yeah. And so it was very, very nice. It recharged me. I came back to Paris, and then from Paris back to Lebanon, and this is where everyone started saying, oh my God, Nour, you did it. How did you do it? And I remember our instructor was like, you guys need to be very happy, because you have the chance to not just take a selfie with Donatella, sit and talk to her.
Yeah.
She had time from her schedule as a creative director of a big fashion house to actually sit and talk to you.
Yeah, that's amazing that she's willing to inspire you and to give time.
Yeah, I think this is very important, because in the fashion industry, the big houses have been, you know, taking over for ages. And so the only way that they can generate new ideas is by bringing in new people, new designers, listening to what we like, what we want. And variety when it comes to, and diversity and inclusion. I mean, those 3 words
you
are
mentioned
very important.
You mentioned that it's all about gender also. You want to send a message about society and gender and everything. What is the message exactly that you want to send?
So as a designer myself, I don't like to say I'm a women's wear or men's wear designer. I'm a fashion designer. So, so this is like a start.
Okay.
What I was trying to tell you earlier was that I really like to focus on the fact that the garment doesn't necessarily follow the body, you know. So let's say I'm designing a jacket or a blazer. I want this blazer to be worn by a woman, a man, a woman who has curves, a woman who's skinny. So she really feels like she can style it the way she wants on her. So my garments, they're not very fitted in that sense.
Oh, they aren't. So I can try them.
Yeah, so they would look awesome on you. So it's really about also breaking the standard of a woman who has this beautiful curvy body or this tiny waist. Because let's not lie to ourselves. I myself want to wear from my brand. I want people, my friends, to wear and to feel like they can feel comfortable in the garments.
Of course.
And so we always tend to, especially in Lebanon, again, I don't want to say that, but I do feel like we're still a bit of a judgmental society. We focus a lot on appearances, on, you know, the first impression or the first thing people would tell me is nashane or dafane.
Yeah. So did you gain weight or lose weight?
Lose weight or gain weight. And for me, this does not define who I am as a person.
Not,
And so, again, going back to the fact and the importance of fashion, it's expressing yourself, your soul, your thoughts into what you're wearing. So do you really want to wear something that just conforms to the society or just shows that you're another person just like everyone else? Or do you want to feel like you're different?
Yeah, distinctive.
Yeah. So this is why my brand and the whole vision of the brand focuses a lot on being different, being you, by default being happy.
Do you think it's more strong women that are wearing your brand, for example?
I do feel that you need to have a certain attitude to be able to wear it, and
because they are bold designs.
Yeah, exactly.
After all,
you need to wear it and look like you own it.
Okay.
So my whole purpose is to feel like you're picking a piece, mixing it and matching it with something that makes you comfortable. So that piece is a statement piece.
Okay, like your jacket.
Exactly, like my jacket at the moment.
Right.
The rest can be a basic black, basic white. You can wear something that makes you comfortable.
Yeah.
And ideally, I want my customer or client to feel happy. I really want to spread happiness. The brand, the whole identity and the whole message is joy. I'm here to tell people that we are going through a very harsh life. Most of the time we are not feeling good. A lot of people are suffering from mental health conditions. I myself have anxiety, and I'll link that in a second to my and explain how it's linked to my work. And so I want people to be feeling happy instantly when they wear my pieces. So it's like you put on a jacket, you feel happy, you go to that event, you're not allowed to be anything but happy. You take it off, you go back to your normal life.
I'm fine.
So like selling moments of happiness in a way.
This is so funny, Nour, because I feel like if ever I'm going to be wearing one of your dresses or jackets or anything, I have so much to carry between joy and strength and authenticity and my own identity.
And there's, of course, when you're using the word authenticity, it's also important to highlight that a lot of my work is embellished by women from the mountains. So
this is very important to mention.
Exactly. My brand really focuses on women empowerment, and it's more of a social enterprise in a way, because every piece has a story, and when you purchase an item from my brand, you end up having a little message from the person who worked on your piece saying this was me and this was the amount of hours that
these are usually women from the village, very simple women. They're not flashy, they're not bold or anything. They're very
conservative a lot of times.
Very traditional and conservative. So Nour, your artisans are women, traditional women from the village. You're giving them this work to work on your designs. Very traditional, very conservative. How can they relate to what you want to express? Because their lives are completely different. What do they think when they're doing this work?
Beautiful question. Honestly, at first it was a bit of a challenge to find the right women, because a lot of people are very talented in the villages, but I was really trying to work with women that have not just the talent, but the patience and the time to work. Because a lot of them, for example, they're really good in crochet, but then they just do it as an extra hobby. They have a lot of kids or grandchildren. Their husband doesn't allow them to go out and work.
Very traditional.
They prefer to work at home. I prefer that they work in my studio, in my workshop. So I had a bit of a difficulty finding my women.
Okay.
But then I was also very happy because while searching, I ended up, happy accidents happen.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times you end up finding one woman who's good in embroidery, but also knows how to crochet and also knows how to do dentelle breton and also knows how to, because a lot of them would learn several crafts at the same time.
Yeah.
And so I'm very, very happy that I found my beautiful team. And we're growing, every time a new collection happens, if we have more clients, and hopefully in the future I will be able to have more people on board. The first impression would be, Nour, too much colors.
Like they're used to the colors?
Yeah, they're used to doing traditional handcraft.
Yeah.
So for them, the embroidery or the totries is very would be on little coasters, would be on a scarf or a shawl or what we call mendil, which is very
for
subtle,
special occasions. Yeah.
Very, very modest. And so I would come in with my fully neon colored DMC threads. Really. The beads are like neon colors. And I would tell them, okay, we're doing puppets, for example. So the puppets that you see over here,
we have to show them.
Yeah, they're one of our main elements. So
they have names.
Yes, so they're illustrated characters that I create, and then they're printed on fabric and hand embroidered by the women. So I'm holding Stephanie, and this is Gwen.
She's part of my family.
Yeah. So people would adopt them as brooches or keychains.
Right.
So when I first came in, my first ever project was a big puppet, and so I remember one of the people who works with me. So my artisan Maysoon would say, Nour, it feels like I'm working on a baby. When they would finish it and give it back to me, they feel attached to it.
They start getting connected to it.
Yeah, they feel connected that they don't want to give it back to me for it to be sold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we slowly started to grow this family because we've had more than 150 puppets by now that are sold. And so every puppet really holds a piece or a part of the artisan. And I focus a lot on them being happy while working.
Okay.
So I don't want to feel like I'm selling moments of happiness and my artisans are having a bad mood while working or the condition is not nice. So I always tell them, put nice music, be in a mood. I don't want you to be working if you're feeling like the energy is not there.
Okay.
Because it will translate in a way.
How do they feel when it's a person that's sometimes half their age?
Most of the times, I mean, my artisans are all grannies mostly.
Yeah, how does it feel for them?
It feels, I guess I'm bringing a bit of hope.
Okay.
I'm bringing a bit of hope, and I feel like because again, they're living in the village. Most of them are very overwhelmed and tired, cooking, taking care of the house, of the kids. They don't feel productive, or they feel like their talent was wasted. No one's appreciating it. It's just something they end up doing in the corner, at 11 p.m. before sleeping, a little like hand embroidery thing.
Yeah, just to enjoy it.
Just to enjoy it for themselves. And so they feel, first of all, excited. Honestly, every time I come in with new work, they're excited about it.
Okay, great.
Secondly, they have their grandchildren, their family, everyone is like excited about the work. So they come and see, they ask about what's happening.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
A lot of times they would also, be part of it in a way. So let's say the puppets are being embroidered. I have one of my artisans who has a little grandchild, and she keeps asking her, okay, when are we going to see the puppets? When are they going to be so they tell stories about the brand.
That's so sweet.
And they feel happy about it. And of course, it's another part which is important is the productivity. So that's a source of income. Because today the money that I'm actually getting on each puppet, for example, a big part of it goes to the artisan herself. And so not only does she get recognition by the fact that her name is placed on the little thank you card and she gets to write a little message.
That's such a nice touch.
Which is a very nice touch, yes.
It makes it personal.
Exactly. And also she gets
a story.
A good, and she also gets to have a source of income for her and her family.
Of course. And I'm sure they learn to see that there's no threat. I know you're just there giving them a little bit of extra oomph or something in their lives. Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
And it's really about the impact that I'm able to have, because the whole purpose of the brand is because let's not lie to ourselves, it's very easy to outsource or to produce elsewhere. But the whole purpose of my brand is to produce locally.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see myself as a designer from the Shuf Mountains. I don't want to see myself having someone in India doing the embroidery, which can be done by a woman from my village, for example.
Yeah.
So the whole purpose is to empower women.
Right.
And I myself, as a creative director, I'm a woman. So it's really a brand made by women for women, but also for men. So that I can add.
That's the gender part.
Yeah, that's the gender part.
Right. Do men buy some of your designs?
Our scarves, yes. Puppets,
Okay.
yes. In terms of designs, I do custom-made pieces, yes.
Oh,
So
okay.
blazers. I sold a very nice psychedelic printed blazer.
Oh yeah, would it
which
be an
had a brain
artist usually,
scan.
like a musician or something?
Usually, yeah, it's either like an art director
Oh,
or
okay.
someone into theater. You know,
Oh,
those are my
cool.
people.
Right.
In general, I'm very happy to say that I'm a niche brand.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone understands the work, or not everyone. Some people really appreciate it, but do not have the attitude. Going back to the attitude, to wear it. It's not everyone's cup of
easy.
tea.
Yeah, it's not easy to go out in like bright pink and fashion embroidery and everything in front of everybody. You have to have the courage,
and you need to have the right occasion.
Exactly.
And it depends on the context. If it's an event where there's a lot of people that are into arts or fashion, of course, this is something that will be totally normal.
Who inspires you?
Wow. A lot of things inspire me. Nature inspires me.
Oh, okay.
Anybody designers, in terms of designers, I myself am a huge fan of John Galliano, and I think that
I haven't heard his name in so long.
And I really like the years where he was creative director for Dior.
He was very bold.
Yeah, very bold. A lot of costume. Because I'm more into costume design. So he would work on a collection that's inspired by, I don't know, let's say the Egyptian era. And you would have those beautifully, nicely embroidered, huge garments, headpieces. The more is more. You know, this aesthetic of richness. Because I myself love embellishment and fabric manipulation. So I love that era a lot. I'm a huge fan of a lot of designers in general. It's not like I have one specific designer in mind, but I get inspired a lot by the archives of the fashion houses. So my latest, around a month and a half ago, I was in Paris and I went to the exhibition of Dolce & Gabbana. Beautiful, extremely overwhelming.
I heard about it. It's wonderful.
It's at the Grand Palais, and it's this beautiful exhibition that takes you through everything, the different styles of the house, and it's, again, a lot of the pieces are just there as artworks.
It's impressive.
You just look, just stay there, you stand and you look and you're like, how can I absorb that much information in one visit? You need to go back again maybe 2-3 times and focus on every dress and the amount of craftsmanship and hours of work.
Does that still exist? The craftsmanship?
In the fashion houses, the big fashion houses, yes. A lot of the times it is. But what's very unfortunate is that because it costs a lot, so they're mostly done for runway pieces. So in every fashion house, what you notice is that you have the défilé that's happening, let's say in Paris Fashion Week. The pieces are very extravagant. They have a lot of embellishment, a lot of prints. This is where the designer gets to showcase full power their ideas and the philosophy of the brand and the DNA of the brand. But then what sells is the commercial line. So you end up having a hoodie, fashion. a little blazer, maybe a simple dress, because people cannot afford a fully beaded dress from top to bottom.
Where are they going to wear it?
Also, there's the whole idea of sustainability and the fact that the fashion industry is one of the biggest polluters. And
fast fashion is incredible. Every 2 months you feel like almost you need a new wardrobe.
And the problem is that again, a lot of money they put a lot of money into the runway, but then who's wearing those pieces? No one. Okay, a few celebrities on red carpets, but what happens with the pieces? Like I once went to an exhibition.
What do they do with them?
They just have archives and they keep revisiting them. So the designers would go back. So Hermès, for example, they have a huge... Hermès, by the way, is one of the brands that has the biggest archive. A lot of the budget goes into the archive. And so I once went...
for posterity.
And the designer, so let's say the new creative director comes into the house, they want to create something, they go back and revisit the archive. So they use it as a source of inspiration, but the pieces themselves, they're just stocked somewhere, you know? And the amount of money that's put into each garment is incredible. Like Louis Vuitton as a brand, they have a huge budget just on prototypes. Not on the final runway pieces.
That's why they need to make so much commercial stuff to raise money for everything.
And mostly Louis Vuitton, they sell bags mostly. You never see someone wearing a Louis Vuitton dress or a full-on look.
I don't even know any of them, actually, right. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
So I want to say I want to be the best form of myself. But then I can also... It's a never-ending process, so I will keep evolving. But I definitely see myself as a very strong fashion designer, creative director. The brand has become more and more famous.
Branding out of Lebanon?
Definitely, yes, definitely. I already have I've already stepped a bit in the UAE and in Paris because I lived there, so I tested the waters, and I do want to make sure that I'm able to ship worldwide. This is my first step soon. I'm launching an e-commerce website that's going to be accessible for everyone.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like, again, my clients are not just Lebanese, for sure. So I see myself in 10 years, you know, the creative director of my brand.
Yeah.
Definitely already having a few shows happening, hopefully in Paris.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. And I just, you know, I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I'm excited
Fingers
too.
crossed. Yeah.
Nour, you're just, every time we sit and talk, you're a bundle of energy. You're full of energy. You have so much depth in everything you do. Really, I'm just fascinated. You put so much thought and emotion and everything, creativity in everything you do. I think it's just wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Honestly, I appreciate it.
Yeah, and where can people find you?
Okay, so at the moment, I am mainly active on Instagram, so Nour.Takieddine.
Yeah,
I have a website.
Yeah,
I have my website, nourtakieddine.com.
Okay.
And I participate a lot in pop-ups, so depends.
Yeah.
So this month, for instance, I'll be participating in a pop-up in Beirut in downtown.
Okay.
And so it's this is kind of how I'm working at the moment. I have some items that are sold in concept stores as well.
Yeah.
And when they messaged me through Instagram or on my website by email, they can also have their custom-made pieces because a lot of our work is made to measure also.
There's
for certain
something
people.
for everybody, actually.
Definitely.
Like we talk about boldness and expression and creativity, but there's something for everybody.
Definitely, definitely, yeah.
So my last question for all my guests, what makes the ordinary extraordinary?
First of all, being you and putting you in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the importance of authenticity.
Yeah.
And really bringing things from inside and sharing it and expressing it. So it's very, it's very you, I guess. And it's very important to be extraordinary. Yeah. I say that every person is extraordinary.
Just bring it out.
Every single person needs to wake up every morning, look into themselves into the mirror and say, I am extraordinary. Yeah. And today I'm going to spread a bit of that across, through the people that I'm meeting. Yeah. Because a lot of times, just one nice comment, which is for free. I mean, we're not paying for our words. Yeah. A smile, a comment, a little, oh my God, I love your puppet, for instance, would make someone else's day.
Or extraordinary.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's so easy.
It's so easy. Yeah. That's it. And keep smiling.
Yeah, keep smiling. Thank you so much, Nour. This has been wonderful.
Thank you so much, Patricia.
And I really can't wait to see what's coming up.
Thank you. Stay tuned.
Yeah, well, thank you, Nour.
Thank you.